Hi, Martin here. Today I want to show you some of the upgrades I've been doing to my parts washer that I just recently bought. Bought this one used, and it was in really nice shape when I got it. It is a Indy 5 automotive parts washer. Personally, never heard of one of them. It basically looks just like a Harbor Freight one with different colors. Now I've done some mods to it, and I just want to share those with you, and I also ran into a couple problems and how I fixed those problems. All right, well, let's get started. Now, one of the very first things I did when I got it was a run down to Harbor Freight and got me one of those moving dollies. With the 20% off coupon, it was like 13 and change, or maybe $14. So, and the cart really fits these power washers really well. The width is like almost perfect, and I just centered it on the cart. Now what I also did is this shelf right here belongs up here, and these, you can see the holes here. Now after placing the washer on here, and then I used some screws, there's a metal lip inside the leg here, running screws into the wood of the dolly to fasten this down. Then I removed the shelf, brought it all the way down, and then ran screws through the corners of the legs here and fastened that shelf solid. Now the reason I did that is when I drain this, I want to be able to just place a 5-gallon bucket underneath here and just drain it into that. And it gives me more room. I cannot put a 5-gallon bucket up underneath here with the shelf up here. I want to also show you the drain valve I put in. Naturally, they just come with basically a plug, a threaded plug. And to be honest with you, I could not figure out what, I'm sure it's metric. And I measured the diameter going across the plug, and it's 16 millimeters. And I couldn't really figure out what thread it was. Well, what turned out is I took my 3/8 NPT tap and screwed it in there, and it was almost perfect. So I just ran the tap in there. It, probably cut the threads just a hair bit different. And I had a 3/8 NPT drain plug, or what do you call it? A cockpit. And I put that in there. Look right up here, I got the 3/8 NPT cockpit. It's one I had just laying around, and that ended up working really good for me. Now, one of the very first things I had to do was find a solvent. Now, if you've seen one of my recent videos where I actually took this product, Totally Awesome, and just put it in a bucket, and I stuck a cylinder head in it and just soaked it, and how well it worked. I'll put a link right up here and check that out. It's pretty amazing how well this stuff works. And, it's non-flammable, biodegradable and all that. Doesn't have any like acids in it. I'm a big fan of Purple Power, but not when it comes to aluminum. Do not use Purple Power on aluminum. It's going to do some damage to it, or it can. You definitely want to rinse it very thoroughly. So that's what I like about this stuff. It does not harm aluminum, and it works really well. But I was buying it by the gallon at Lowe's, and then I found it at what's it called, Dollar Tree, and this is $1. And so for a quart times 4 is a gallon, that's $4. This was $7. Guess where I'm buying it now? Well, so I put that stuff in there, and it wasn't even, I think, the following day, or maybe it was 2 days later, but it lifted all the paint wherever it was contacting the metal inside the washer. So probably not a great idea to soak anything in the Totally Awesome that's painted, and you don't want the paint to be removed. Now here it did not remove the paint, because I actually did not have this in there at the time. I had a cylinder head sitting in here, so I had this removed. But if you look down here, you can see all the paint is gone. And then I ended up what I did here is I took a flapper disc on my angle grinder, and I just went ahead and took it all off. I took it off of what I could get to on this. It had started lifting it off of here, but yeah, started, because I don't want that paint in here, because I ended up having to drain everything out of here and then strain it through a terry cloth and remove all the paint particles. Then I put the Totally Awesome back in here. Now here's one thing I've never seen on a parts washer before. Look, this has got an air hose fitting on here. I don't know what for. So we got it hooked up, and there's just nothing but a 6-inch wand inside the tank. Right there, there's the end of it right there. That's all the longer it is. And you can tell it's got the factory end on it. So if I turn that air on in there, what is that doing for me? If any of you guys know, hammer on the keys down below in the remarks, and let me know what that does for you, 'cause I don't get it. Makes bubbles. Now, shortly after I did purchase it, I started having problems with the pump. It would not work. And I'd pull the pump assembly out of there, and I'd get it freed up, and it would work again until the very following day, and it wouldn't work anymore. So well, this is the pump right here. This is the original one. And I'm going to pull the pump assembly out to show you what I put in there. And very happy with what I replaced it with, which actually looks a lot like this design right here. Here's the pump that I did use. It's called a Little Giant. Check in the description where I have links to this product. And what caused the problem, I'm believing, well, anyway, there is a crack down there. And I'm sure, you know, the solvent was getting in there, and electricity and liquids just don't mix that well. Shortly after I get the pump replaced and everything's working all good again, then the wand, this hose, starts leaking. I got like a little bubbly fountain going on coming out of here, and then it was literally shooting out of the side of this fitting, like a little stream shooting out of there. So enough of that. All right, now one of the most noticeable upgrades I've done to it are these lines here that I've added. This is made by Loc-Line. It's a USA made product. These are all snapped together. This 1/4-inch diameter tubing, and you know, very flexible. And then I put a valve on each one of these. You can buy these valves separately, but what I did is I bought this manifold right down here. Now it comes with 4 valves. I've got one of them moved over to right here. Here's the T intersection, and then the actual valve I've moved here onto the hose. Because of the T intersection, I've got it running through the pump here and coming out over on this side to right here. Then this one here I'm not using. You can purchase caps if you like, you know, and snap a cap on here. But 3 lines on here is actually, that's enough. And if I ever want to get more of the tubing here, I can always purchase that, snap it on, and go from there. And then I ended up buying 5 feet of the tubing. And you'll find a link in the description below for that. So, oh, that was another thing too. With the nozzles and the fittings down here to the NPT, you also get 2 5 3/4-inch pieces of the tubing. So altogether you're seeing around 6 feet of tubing here. So with that combo you get the 3 nozzles, the 2 NPT fittings, and then the 2 sections of 5 3/4-inch length tubing. Now if you want to get this out of here and service this, you know, you're wondering how do you disconnect that? You got to get yourself one of these tools. Well, you don't need to, but let me tell you, it is well worth the money to have this. It makes putting this stuff together and disassembling it so easy. And here's what those pliers look like. They come in both 1/2 and 1/4 inch diameter. So let's say we got to take this out to service it. Alright, just take the pliers, slide them on here, and then just pull the two handles apart. So I'll just show you the inside of this real quick here and show you the pump that I got. Alright, well there's the factory pump right there. And you can probably see the physical size difference of this pump. It's quite a bit larger. Now, some of the things I had to do, since it is larger, there's a sediment screen right here. Being that the pump is larger, and if I were to install it the way the original one was, like this, in this direction right here, the screen would stick out of the front of this thing. So I turned it sideways, and if you see these two brackets right here, that was the original bracket that went over top of this and held the pump in place. Well, since this pump is so much larger, that bracket wouldn't work in the same manner. So I cut it in two, and you can see how I used the original holes that were down here, and then that curve right there, that hole that used to anchor this point right here, I used it to anchor it right here. And then I flipped this piece around and also cut off the top of it, and it just sits in here really nice. It's nice and snug. It's not going anywhere. Use some 3/8 fuel line right here. And then I also got a couple 1/4 inch NPT fittings. These I actually had laying around. Screwed them onto here and then used 3/8 barb fittings on both ends. And I just pushed them on. They fit so nice and snug you don't need a clamp. You know, this isn't like it pushes out a lot of pressure. It only pushes out a lot of volume, which I'm going to show you just a second here in action. Then I also used a PVC fitting right here. This is a 1/2 inch PVC. Put a small piece of PVC tubing right in here, and then used a 90-degree elbow. And because I just don't want any liquid to get down, have any chance of getting down in here like this one. You know, it could have gotten in there. I'm not sure how they epoxy that all in there, but I didn't want to take any chances. And right there, you can see how I got the cord comes right out of there and goes through here, and then you just hook it up. On these Loc-Line pliers, they have a large side right there and a small side. So when placing it on here, you find the small side, like that right there. Put that on there. The large side slides over here. And then, just that quick, and you got it back together. All right, we'll fire it up. And now you can control it with these valves right here. Of course, that's going to increase the pressure on this one. And then I got this one right here. That's the small 1/16 inch tip. That actually pushes out fairly hard. I mean, that's got a little bit of pressure to it. Now this pump doesn't, you know, they're not designed to put out pressure. It's the volume. But with that little tip on it, you can actually definitely feel that. And then of course you can control the amount of flow. If that's too much, you can just turn this down to a more desirable stream. But I think this is going to be nice. You could be sitting here washing parts over here and working on whatever you got right here, you know. And I like removing this whole tray, like to set a cylinder head in here and work on it. And what I like about these too is you can lengthen this, shorten it, put this valve wherever you want. I like having them up here, so I don't have to reach through here, let's say, because they come on the manifold down here, like this one is. Well, I don't care for that because I gotta, you know, reach over here to adjust it. I'd rather have it up here where I can get to it really easily. But you can see how much flow this pump is putting out. It's doing really well, even with 3 of these nozzles going. Turn off these other 2, and that's pushing quite a bit of fluid. Just getting the throttle body cleaned up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, I sure appreciate the thumbs up. That helps out the channel immensely. And if you never subscribed to me before, please hit that subscribe button right down there and that little bell symbol right next to it, and that way you get notified next time I upload a video. And I'm also, like I've been saying, an Amazon affiliate. Please check down in the description where you'll see Amazon links to the products and tools we used in the video, and you can do all your Amazon shopping through one of those links, and the channel earns a small commission that way. Sure appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you on the next one.